You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Thank you for joining me on this episode. This podcast is where we explore all the topics of interest to public health professionals at this intersection of public health and entrepreneurship. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I'm really excited that you've decided to tune into this episode. It really means a lot to me that you make the decision to hang out with me for a few minutes and see what I have to say about this topic under this umbrella of public health entrepreneurship. So again, my name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley. I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm a public health entrepreneur with well over 20 years of experience in both healthcare and public health, and I've supported many entrepreneurs along the way. I've also been podcasting since 2017. So although this podcast is relatively new, I've been podcasting for quite a while. This episode is going to focus on the topic of public health masterminds. Really, what is a mastermind group? I thought it would give us an opportunity to chat about it. We're chatting. I'm actually talking to you about it, but it gives me an opportunity to share with you about what it means and then also introduce our mastermind program, which I've also mentioned on several previous episodes. But I do often hear from people, they really want to know, what does it really mean? What's a mastermind? Because that's not a common term to us in public health, but it is very common to entrepreneurs in other industries, often in business terms. So let's dive into that a little bit on this episode. So if you happen to be also watching this video, people keep asking me, what happened to your hand? I have some scars on the back of my hand, and it's from a culinary accident. So basically, I was cooking and hot oil splattered on the back of my hand. I had some burns. I'm okay now. I mean, I did all of the immediate first aid stuff, right to the cold water. But at any rate, it looks a lot worse than it feels. It's just in the healing stage. So a few people have brought it up and said, I didn't want to ask, but I was really curious, what's wrong with your hand? So I talk with my hands, so I'm always waving them around. And if you happen to be watching a video with this episode, then you will see that for a little bit. I imagine it will take a little while to heal, but I'm okay. So thank you for whoever has asked. A few people, like I said, have asked about that, and then they've been afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. But at any rate, let's dive into the topic about masterminds, okay? I have some notes so that I can not get too veer off topic here. But essentially, a mastermind group is a collaborative group. So it's a network. You can think of it as a network of individuals. It's usually a relatively small group, or it breaks out into smaller groups, but it's within a certain field. It could be niche down. We could say public health mastermind would be mastermind of public health entrepreneurs or public health leaders. And, of course, within public health or under this public health umbrella, there's so many different niche areas. So a mastermind group, you could probably expect a group of executive level folks or a group of entrepreneurs. There's going to be some similarities there, but then within that group, there's still going to be a lot of nuances and differences. And the purpose is really coming together to share knowledge, resources, really support each other. Sometimes you need a space where you can meet with your peers and it feels a little bit safer, especially if you're a higher executive level or leadership level, or as entrepreneurs, there are not as many people who are walking this journey. So we need to be around those where we can share some ideas and other people can relate to where we are in the stage of entrepreneurship or executive leadership, whatever your kind of niche area is, or the type of mastermind group. So the concept actually came from a book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So some of you may be familiar with that book. It's an old classic. And so the idea, the concept of mastermind groups came from Napoleon Hill in that book. So in the context of public health, we think of a mastermind group is going to include, especially with us entrepreneurs. So we're going to all be public health professionals, and we could be in any area of public health: researchers, different types of practitioners, policymakers, educators, epidemiologists, and we have a common interest of addressing these public health challenges, advancing the field. And for entrepreneurs, we're doing it with this creative flair, our own way that we're kind of leading to solve these problems or bringing innovation into our solutions. And as a part of mastermind groups, you meet regularly, could be virtually, could be in person, could be both, and discuss ideas. There's usually some structure to the mastermind group program itself, but with a lot of flexibility within the meetings so that people can, sometimes there's hot seat questions where everyone gets a certain number of minutes to ask their questions. And then the group members share responses and share insights. Again, this can be housed and can be conducted virtually and in person, or a combination of the two. At this stage of the game, all of us are familiar with the benefits of how we can use technology and work virtually, as well as the good old fashioned in-person meetings. So it's not uncommon for there to be some sort of a mixture with masterminds using this online technology to bring together people who ordinarily would not cross paths, especially given that we're so widespread. So just to kind of give a few additional characteristics of a mastermind group, because I'm also going to share with you about our mastermind group, which I'm very biased. I think it's amazing. All the people are wonderful. And I encourage you to really explore, seriously encourage you to explore it. But it may not be a good fit for you, but there are other mastermind groups. And I'd like to share a few more things with you so that you can, take this with you as you explore the opportunities for yourself. It needs to be collaborative. That's really important, not competitive. And that's working together in a spirit of collaboration. And I've talked about this in the past. Collaboration means you get together, you share. It doesn't mean that you take someone else's idea and try to replicate what they do. You could be inspired by someone, but when you do whatever you do, it's your perspective, your expertise, and you have your spin on it. So there is room for all of us to be able to work together and share. We just have to be mindful and respectful of each other's ideas. So we're not taking away from someone, but it's a collaborative spirit of supporting one another. And there's an abundance mindset that goes with that, and being able to support and share. There's more than enough opportunities for where we can serve. So I would really encourage you to make sure that it has a collaborative spirit or element to this mastermind, not to be mixed with competitive. Networking, that's a huge part of masterminds, a huge benefit. And after years of coaching and working with clients in small groups and one-on-one, networking is something that you should always be working on. And when I say this, and you'll hear it a lot if you haven't heard it already on this podcast, but think of it as your opportunity to share your expertise, how you solve a problem, how you show up, how you can help, and letting other people know about you so that either they can opt in to work with you. They realize, oh, I need to work with this person and I want to work with them. What he or she is explaining is really resonating with me. Or maybe they know someone, they're the connector. They connect you with another opportunity or bring those resources to you. So networking is an opportunity to not only share about what you do, be excited about that, but be genuinely excited about learning about other people and what they're doing and what they're offering through their services, so that you may be a client for them, or you may be able to connect them with resources. I've done that so many times. It's a natural, when I work with clients and I get to know them, it's natural for me to want to connect them. And I leverage my networking connections to do that, because I think we all win at the end in that regard. And I've done it well with podcasting over the years. I've gotten to really talk to and get to know so many amazing people in this field of public health. And I use that opportunity to connect people all the time. So networking is very strong. I walk that walk and talk the talk. So I benefit and I also give in that respect. So that's a huge benefit of a good mastermind is the ability, the networking opportunities. Members of the mastermind groups will all have something that they can give, as well as we're all there to get something. We want something in return, but we all have something to give. So that knowledge sharing, whether it's insights, experiences, best practices, resources, that's really important. I love it when that happens across our mastermind program as well. And I just get kind of almost like a mama bear feeling. I get so proud and excited when I see that exchange across the community. So that's something to keep in mind as you're thinking about or looking at masterminds. Professional development is another thing you want to consider. Like, those are benefits. There should be opportunities where you get to work on your business, not in your business. And if you haven't heard that phrase, you'll hear it a lot as you continue on. But what it means is not to get caught up in the tasks and the work, but also to step back and be the visionary. Where are we going with this business? Are we on target to meet our goals? Do we have clear goals? Do we need to refine those goals? So all those things that work on your business, what's the strategy for next quarter and next year and things like that. So, and then that professional development, in addition to those moments to work on the business, is really yourself. What do you need to pour into yourself? What skills do you want to learn, or what have you identified in sort of, maybe it's leadership skills or training that you want to pour into yourself, invest in yourself. There's so many things that could fall under the professional development, but the mastermind should offer some element of professional development as well. The benefit is accountability. I see that a lot, including in myself. We, as entrepreneurs, and you get into this circle with your mastermind group and you start vocalizing your goal and your vision and what you want to do, your mastermind group members are going to hold you accountable, and not in a negative way, but in a positive way, to help make sure that they're supporting you and your vision and where you're going. If it's no more than asking about, what about that thing that you mentioned last meeting, you said you were going to work on, how's that coming along? That level of accountability is huge. So we have a lot of that in our program as well. And you should look for those sort of qualities in a mastermind program, my recommendations. So I'm going to, again, if you're watching this video, then you get an extra benefit of the visual. But I'd like to just let you know where you can learn more about our mastermind program. And it is, if you visit our website, which is publichealthentrepreneurs.com, and once you're there, click on Mastermind from the top, and that takes you to our Mastermind, Public Health Entrepreneurs Mastermind Group Program. And if you're watching this video, you see them sharing my screen to show you what it looks like when you're there. At the top, it says Supporting Public Health Entrepreneurs. And this page, I'm not going to read from it on this episode, but I encourage you to go to our website and take a few moments and review the page. You'll get a really good sense of the problems that I witnessed when I decided to create this program, what I saw in a lot of my clients and across the board with entrepreneurs, and how we are addressing that. And then, it talks about the purpose, the elements, I should say, of our mastermind program. It's very much high visibility, a lot of high visibility strategies, which helps networking element and helps you attract your ideal clients and community members to you. It helps you get stronger, that professional development that we talked about, the personal development and professional development in here, and the components. So we have a virtual meetings, virtual activities, and then we have also in-person retreat, 2-day in-person retreat that happens twice a year. And that's all a part of our program. You also get a little bit of additional coaching when you first on board. You work directly with me. And it's a very comprehensive program by design and born out of what was needed and what I saw from the years. And since this program has been established, we've refined a few things, and this works extremely well. So just to also touch on our scheduling, we have regular monthly meetings every Wednesday of each month. And some of these you can attend live, and some of these you can recap later. We go through a lot of that on our website. And then the big thing to remember is the application process. We encourage you to apply for membership. If you go through this part of our website, read all the information, and it sounds like something that you're interested in, we encourage you to apply. What that does is it lets me know that you're actually interested. You've read all of this, you're interested. It looks really like something that could fit your needs. Then we'll get together. We'll share with you a little bit more detail. And eventually you end up with a meeting with myself, a member of my team, to answer any questions that you may have remaining and to really give you the opportunity to join if that is something that you find is a good fit. It also gives us the opportunity to see if you would be a good fit with the members that we have, the way we know that it's structured. So the website has the information. I think of it as when we're shopping, I don't always want to meet with a salesman right up front, right? We want to have a chance to review all the information, get some answers for ourselves. And then after you've had a chance to look at all of that and you decide, well, I do want to apply, then it gives us a little bit more into the details that, whatever questions you have, we want to make sure that we're answering them, because we want it to be a mutually good fit, so that when you're at that point of you have the opportunity to join, then you're ready. Your questions are answered. If you decide that, after you apply and we answer your questions, we go back and forth when we have a meeting or so, maybe exchange some information back and forth, and you decide, well, it's not actually a good fit for you, no harm, no worries. It's just that we streamline the process this way to make sure that it's the best fit. A lot of times the information on the site, on that page, can answer the majority of questions that people have. So one more thing to add is our enrollment is only open twice a year. And we only invite people who actually apply. So the only way to actually enroll is to apply. That's by design. And the reason we only have the enrollment open twice a year is because we like to bring the new group in together. We onboard, we take very good care of everyone to get familiar with the whole process and the scheduling and everyone. And then we introduce everyone to our online community. And then we begin the process of preparing for our retreat several months down the road. So we have a really defined, well-organized system for this. And we just focus our attention, reduce the distractions of having members constantly coming at different times, but we kind of design it so that we can onboard a group at one time and kind of take them through the process. And so the 2 times a year is June and December, just so that you know that. And I'll be sharing a little bit about this. So depending on when you're listening to this episode now, then you have the opportunity to apply and potentially meet, because this episode is being released in May. So that means that if you're listening now and you want to apply, then we will have an opportunity to meet with you, discuss, and then we can share with you the details on the schedule over some time with no pressure. And then if it's a good fit, then you would be able to enroll and onboard in June for our July cohort. That's how that would work. Anytime after that, then you can still encourage you to apply. We communicate in the back end over the months. And then when the next enrollment period comes at the end of the year, it's something you could plan for. You'll be able to apply and onboard in December for our cohort that kicks off at the first of the year. Okay. I wanted to make sure I took some time to explain several months. Like I said, depending on when people are listening to these episodes, the timing will be a little different, but the enrollment, we always onboard in June and December for each of the next cohorts. So we're onboard in June for the July cohort that starts, and then we onboard in December for the cohort that starts at the first of the year. Okay. Well, we can give you more reminders and so forth on the upcoming episodes, but this episode was an opportunity to dive a little more deeply into the program, because as I share on these episodes and I talk about our Mastermind program, I don't mean to just be so vague and dropping these little examples. I want it to have one episode that I could refer back to so that you could hear more detail as I continue to share stories here and there about our program. All right. So as we wrap up this episode, I will ask you, of course, to help us share the podcast. You can share our website. Maybe you're listening and maybe you're curious for yourself, but you may look at our website and read about the Mastermind program and think of someone else who also may be interested. We ask you to share our website with your friends, your colleagues. So publichealthentrepreneurs.com, and just click on Mastermind for the Mastermind program. Or while you're there, you could click on podcast for all the show notes and also all of the previous episodes of the podcast, and as well as how the links to connect to our podcast apps. So we have everything in one spot. So please help us out by just sharing our website. That will be a wonderful way to help support this podcast and help us, encourage us to continue to make these episodes available to you. Whichever you do, whether it's the website, the Mastermind application, the podcast you're sharing, we appreciate your support. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.